From toddlers to teens,
and social media to screens.
we have so much to be mindful about as parents in the digital age.
Bruh.
As Black and brown moms with 6 kids between us, we're excited to be partnering with Meta, a company that is committed to supporting parents in this digital age and to be answering some of parents' biggest questions about technology, safety, and raising resilient kids.
We'll double click on AI, technology, and online safety through expert insights and our own parenting wins and fails, because none of us have this figured out.
I'm Samantha Danielle, content creator, writer, and mom of 3 teens.
I'm Kanika Gupta, TV journalist, podcast host, and mom of Irish triplets in elementary school.
And this is Parenting in the Digital Age with Sam
and Kanika, brought to you by Meta. Welcome to Parenting in the Digital Age with Sam and Kanika, brought to you by Meta. I'm Kanika Gupta, TV journalist, podcast host, and mom of 3, trying to navigate this tech-fueled world.
And I'm Samantha Danielle, content creator, writer, and mom of 3 teens, navigating this digital revolution one IG reel at a time. And today we're tackling one of the biggest battles in modern parenting, kids and screens. And we couldn't have a better guest on to have this discussion.
She's a stand-up comedian, content creator, and the mastermind behind MomCom NYC, where she turns chaos into comedy gold. Please welcome the hilarious ALYCE Chan. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, guys. Hi, girls.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
We are so happy you're here. I'm so lucky that we met through our very close-knit mom community in the tri-state, and I'm lucky to call you a friend. And it's been great to establish a friendship offline, but also sit back under my covers at 1 a.m, watching all of your sketches and reels online and just laughing my butt off.
1 a.m, Kanika. You gotta go to sleep.
It's after tea, and then I get my phone, and then I'm up for like a little bit.
I'm up at 1 a.m. too.
We're all
And
scrolling.
3. Yeah, I'm up at 3 and 5 and 1, all hours.
That's peak adult social media time when the kids can't
It's
interrupt.
Right? Like when social media is like, what time does your audience actually, what's your peak time for a view? I'm like, moms after 1 a.m.
Yeah.
They're on.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we got our REM sleep, and then we're up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so wonderful to see how you have a presence and persona on both sides. So tell us your journey from the beginning on how you became a content creator.
Ooh, I won't go from the beginning, but a lot of it had to do with my second kid. And I only discovered Instagram late 2017 towards 2018. And I was like, what is this Instagram thing? And I used to do stand-up comedy, and I took a 3-year break. And my second baby, when I had my second baby, I was feeling more isolated because now I have 2 kids. I had a toddler and a newborn, and my newborn was not sleeping, had colic. And so I think I fell deeper into depression, and I found Instagram to be my outlet because I was able to create just like quips and jokes and memes so quickly and load it up. And I got validation from other parents. And I thought nobody wants to hear from a mom. You know, once you're a mom, like no one wants to hear from you. And surprisingly, I found a community in social media. This mom came up to me. I had like maybe 10 memes on my Instagram, had like maybe 20 followers. And she came up to me. She's like, this one is really funny. Do you mind if I share it? And I thought it was a scam. I was like, okay, this lady has over 100,000 followers. And why would she want to share mine? And she did. And that's when I started to meet the rest of the Instagram community, the parents. And it was like a whole new world. I'm like, people want to hear from parents. This was like all new to me. And that's when it started to grow.
Yeah. Actually, Sam, can you share about how you too, I mean, you have been a content creator from the beginning too, and really help those who are in similar situations. You are a proud Black single mom, and we need to see more of this.
I think a lot of us content creators, especially when you got started like in the 27s and like 2017, and then kind of around the pandemic time, I think a lot of us fell into it. I don't even think that I didn't intend to be a content creator. I don't think I even was familiar with what the term was. I called myself like I was the kid that always got talks too often and loudly in class. And then I like monetized it because I was just on social media doing what I normally would do, just like, sharing what me and my family are doing. And at the time, I was actually still married. I was just sharing what we were doing, especially around the pandemic. Like, I had 3 kids at home, right? And it was like the kids versus us. Like, we have to figure out something so that the kids don't drive us crazy, so that we don't drive the kids crazy. So we just started sharing like different things like tie-dyeing our t-shirts or like learning new science experiments. Every day was a little bit of an adventure. And like you said, Alice, people cared about it. So, and everybody was kind of in a shared space during that time where it was kind of like, well, we want to know what to do too. This is like a crazy time. So my platform kind of started to grow kind of quickly during the pandemic. And I noticed like around when it got to maybe like around 10,000 followers, that's when people started reaching out to me and being like, oh, you're a content creator. Like, can we partner with you? Or you're a content creator. Would you like to come to something? And I was like, oh, I'm a content creator. Sure. So it was almost kind of like for fun. It was definitely just for fun and for whoever wanted to, follow along. But then it kind of just, I feel like my whole journey has just been kind of just like things falling into, through me just like sharing. And like Kanika said, after I got divorced, I became a single mom. I just kind of shared that, like, y'all, it's just me and 3 now. And there's a lot of women who also are African American single moms who have went through a similar journey. So what I love most about the whole thing and what all of us share is that community. It's finding people that look like you, who can relate to you, and that you can support each other and share things. Because parenting is hard, it's complicated sometimes. So having people alongside with you, it just makes it so much of a better journey.
Totally, totally. And I think what I found also around the pandemic, a little bit before 2019, was that I love having conversations with fellow parents because we have to exchange notes. If we're living in silos, doing the same thing every single day and feeling like you're just a hamster on a wheel, it's like you're not growing. But if you have this podcast, it's like if you have someone else on who might be from a different background or have different perspectives. Now you're like, aha, I'm going to implement that in my day. That has changed me for the better. And now I'm going to show up differently as a human being, mom, with my kids, all of that. So, yeah. And you brought up community, and Alice, you've really built a wonderful community around you at a time that was really dark, like postpartum. I want to go there because, moms don't talk about this enough. And, when you just want to stay in a hole and not meet anyone, you can spiral. But you were like, no, I'm going to get myself out of this. And you help people along the way. So tell us how you did that at that time.
Yeah, and then okay, so for my first child, I was working full time at a bank doing a corporate marketing job, and I had my first kid, James. After 4 months, my husband asked me, "Do you want to stay home with our baby and quit your job?" And at that time, I did not like my job. It was not creative. It wasn't me. It was just a basic 9 to 5 job. And I thought this was my dream, like stay at home with my baby, the easiest job in the world. I quickly learned it wasn't, and it's not that it's hard, but it's also isolating, like you said, Kanika. I didn't have a community, and I didn't know that I had to have a new set of friends to complement my other friends, and a lot of my single friends kind of just thought, oh, they pushed me aside. They're like, Alice is busy. We're gonna do things without Alice. We're not gonna ask her because she's gonna say no anyway. And I often did because I was so tired and I couldn't get out late at night. And I did for 3 years, just like kind of just try to find mom friends, did a lot of baby and me classes, and didn't really put self care didn't look into like, what does Alice want to do? I tried all these different things with my baby, but nothing really for me. And it wasn't until my second baby that I realized I think I need to go back into comedy. Like I walked by a bar. We were in Greenpoint and there was a live comedy show put on by women and it was free. So there was no excuse. I went and it sparked something in me and something resurfaced. Like I think I need to fill a void. And that was when I was like, hey, there's this Instagram, and then I start writing jokes on it, which helped me create better jokes, better punchlines. And when same as you, Sam, I wasn't trying to be a content creator. I didn't know what it was. For me, it was an outlet. It was something like therapeutic for me, and it helped my comedy. And quickly, I found my community, and I felt like, and I've met friends on Instagram, and we've become closer. And like, I met Kanaka on Instagram, like, you know. So that's how it really started, and it actually helped my postpartum depression because I had an outlet and I had people listening to me and wanting to hear what Alice had to say. And it wasn't all about mom stuff, but mom was part of my identity and I got to share my struggles. And I have no shame in talking about postpartum rage, postpartum depression, how isolating parenting can be, how boring parenting can be, and how I don't love every second. And a lot of other moms related to that. And my whole mission was, you know what? I just don't want people to feel alone in motherhood. And I thought Instagram was a great way to reach those moms, even global wide. And then I start getting back into live comedy. It was such a compliment. So I could do live comedy and then I could also write my jokes and try to be funny online. And both really complemented each other. And it really fulfilled me.
You brought moms together during the day for comedy hour.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so why I had my baby was like 6 months, my second baby, Adrian. And after the live comedy show, I came home and I had this idea. I'm like, no one was actually putting me on their shows. No one wanted mom in their late 30s. No one wanted to hear from me. So I'm like, I'm just going to produce my own show. But I need to change my content, right? Because I was talking about living with a cat, single, dating in New York City. That wasn't me anymore. So I'm like, I'm going to talk about my own struggles as a Asian mom living in Brooklyn and struggling with two kids. And so I went to a bookstore called Word Bookstore, which is still in Greenpoint. They said yes to me. And my first show was on their stage downstairs. I have a cute little stage performance area. 7 moms came, 6 of them were my friends, and they all brought their newborns, and they were able to feed their new change diapers. The newborns were just crawling along sanitized mats. I made sure everything was sanitized. Newborns were just crawling or sleeping or on their backs. One comic even brought their baby on stage. I would tell jokes with wearing my baby, and it just felt so good. Like I can mom and make adults laugh at the same time and still nurture a community. And I brought these moms together. I was like, I'm buying cookies for them. Like I would go to Ovenly, buy cookies, get them water. And I'm like, they need to be taken care of, these moms. And women, even some dads would come, some babysitters, nannies, grandparents would come. And every month we would have, and it just grew to like maybe 25 before we had a capacity restraint because when you have 20 moms, you also have 20 babies. So there's like 40 people. So yeah, it grew and grew. And then it just became kind of like automatic. And women knew, every Thursday at 10:30, we can go to a morning comedy show for 45 minutes. Then it was nap time for everybody. And it was perfect. And then
Wow.
and then pandemic hit and then that's when it stopped. But for the 2 years, it was just like such a dream for me to
That is
have that.
so cool. You created community and your own opportunity. It was
Yes.
like, this isn't going to stop me. This is actually going to empower me. You show moms you don't have to choose one. You infuse joy into your own life and others. That is so inspiring. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
love that you said that, Sam, like fuse joy into each other. So I got my baby, I got my comedy. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're done at 11:15 a.m. It's like perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
And, I feel like it's fun for parents, like you said, we forget about the mom, the music and the wheels on the bus, that's for them. How much can you do that? It's like, "Can I laugh? Like, really have a belly laugh, please?" So
Yeah,
that's amazing.
and
Amazing.
you create space for yourself to be a person. I think that's one of the most difficult things about being a mom, and I think the messaging is really shifting in this generation, and I'm so grateful for it. But I think what we were originally taught was everything about parenting is joyful and everything is about your baby, and you weren't really having the conversations like you're crying at home. You're sad. If you're a stay-at-home mom, dad is working, your kid is crying, you are blessed to be able to be home with your child. That is a portion of it, but it's more than that, right? There's two things can be true at once. I love being able to be home with my child. And also, I want to cry sometimes because I don't have as much of my self identity or I don't have the same community. And you literally took that as a challenge and was like, okay, I'm going to make a community. I'm going to take my self identity and kids on my hip come along with me. So I love this story and I love what you did for moms. Like I wish I would have had something like that when my kids were little.
Mhm. I
Yes.
did too. I was thinking like I wish I had something like that too, to be able to be an adult for just 45 minutes and laugh at adult jokes. Moms don't have time past 7 p.m. to go to a comedy show in the city. So
That's right.
10:30 a.m. that works.
Present day, how old are your kids now?
Now they are my oldest is 11 and Adrian is
Okay.
8 now. Yep.
Okay. That's cool.
And they
Wow.
still remember those days, which to me is so special because they were part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're on stage.
Yeah. They were on stage. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Let's shift gears and talk about screen time because, our babies were native to screens. They knew how to scroll. It's like they're saying mama and then they're like scrolling, which is amazing. They knew how to do both. So, tell us when you introduce screens to your kids.
We introduced screens to my first child, I think around maybe 4. He was watching Blippi. That just made my life easier when I'm trying to cook and he's not like all over the place. So, and then he was watching Peppa the Pig. So a lot of just like short YouTube distractions for him. And then my little one was much earlier because he saw his brother on it. So he got an iPad much earlier than we thought he would. And both of them are now they're experts at scrolling using their thumbs and they're doing like Minecraft, Roblox. I'm trying to be cool and I'm like, teach me how to play Minecraft. Like they'll want to play with me for the first 3 minutes and they'll be like, actually, no, you can't give me back the controller. Yeah. They're like, it's more frustrated to teach you, mom. So I need to enroll in my own Roblox classes just so I could like relate to my kids.
And I bet they have them, like, I bet
They
they
do.
have
they,
them.
they need to have.
And you said that you guys are, like, on your kids, like, their first little things were YouTubes. I know a lot of ours were. Have you ever had a moment where you, like, let your kid have, like, their iPad or their phone or whatever, and it, like, backfired because you realized they were, like, watching something crazy or something scary? Have you ever, like, been like,
Yes.
"Why are they being so quiet? What's going on?" And then you walk
Yeah.
in there. Have you ever did that before?
Yeah, there was a time where there were a bunch of videos that were taking Peppa the Pig and put dubbing voices on it. And then my yeah, and my kid was like, "Oh, watch this. This is so funny." And it was a different voice. And I was like, "Oh, no, 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 you can't watch that." And they're like, "No, but it's Peppa the Pig." I'm like, "I know, but it's not the real Peppa the Pig." And I got really scared. Like, how did that even get on? I think the controls are way better now. I think those videos are off. But at a point in my life, I was just like, I don't know what's safe. And so I had to like being right next to them to make sure whatever they're watching was appropriate.
Yeah, it's true. I think my kids definitely would get sucked into unboxing videos, which is
Oh,
just
yes. Love
I'm like, okay, so they're taking out the toy and
right.
they're playing with it and you're watching them play with it. Like, you go do your own thing. I don't know why they're
Yeah.
into that. It's really weird.
My kids were the prank videos, like, I had to tell
Oh,
them this was, like, really early, like, 2000s. Nah, I'm not super like earlier in the 2000s when people would have like a lot of family prank channels. And I had to tell my kids, absolutely not. You're never pranking me. If you prank me, yeah, I'll have an equal prank for you that you won't like. So like I had to tell them like this is like their whole family is like this is what their channel is about. Like people's families don't just go around like, dumping marbles in the bathroom for people to fall or, throwing
Oh,
water balloons. So that was their guilty pleasure. And when kids are young, you just have to explain to them like it's just like TV. Guys, this is entertainment. Don't try this at home. Don't.
Right, it's almost yes, yes. Actually, my husband, it's like he doesn't do this anymore, but he used to love watching fails, and
Mm.
I was just like, "This is so wrong," but it was almost like it's reminiscent of, like, if you remember America's Funniest Home Videos,
yes.
where you're
Okay.
just like, "I get it," like, we all watch that. How do you set screen time limits for your kids now and maybe even yourself? Like, have some boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good question because I also need to set myself a limit and I'm constantly on it because part of it is my job. But I also have to need to define that to my kids because they're watching me as their role model. So I'm like, they're like, okay, if mom is on it, then it's okay for me to be on it. So I have to define them like, mom is working right now. And they understand that now. They do have hourly limit. So every weekday, it's 1 hour, and then on weekends it's kind of like 2 hours. Depending how busy I. They do know now to surpass the limit because they'll be like, "Your 1 hour time limit. Do you want to surpass it?" And they'll be like, "Bypass." And they'll be like, "Whoa, weren't you like yesterday?" I'm like, "Adrian, is your time limit up?" And he goes, "No, no." And I look at him like, "You've been on it for like 2 hours." And he goes, "Oh, I didn't know that. I did."
How do you handle? Because this would be a big thing with my kids. Because 'cause I'm typically more of a stricter boundary parent compared to the other kids when they're like, "But everyone else gets to keep their phone all the time, but everyone else keeps their phone in their room." Because I always say, "Well, if you're going to bed, well, why do you need your phone?" "Well, I'm not gonna be on it." "Well, if you're not gonna be on it, then why do you need it?" How do you what is your response when they start hitting you with the, "But my friends, and I'm the only
Oh
one
my
in the
god.
world." What do you say to your kid?
Oh, yeah, we all know that, right? But my friends have it, but my friends is on that, but my friends can watch this show that's rated for, mature. I'm like, "Okay, so you guess what? Your friends also eat kale and broccoli. Are you gonna eat that?"
I
"No."
like
"Okay, do you
it.
get it?"
I like it. I
So
like it.
you when you and your friends are not the same, I am not the same. I'm not their parent. We're different. I need to just keep telling them we're different. And sometimes it just has to, I just have to bring something up like that for them to kind of just get out of that thinking like my friends have this, we're not the same. And I'll tell you why. They eat Chinese food and you don't, and you're half Chinese. So what's up with that?
I like it. You have
Yeah.
quick listen, being a comedian has really worked for you because you have some good comebacks. I definitely wanna write some of these down. Your friends also made all A's, they studied all night. Are you gonna do it? Get out of here, kid. Beat it. I like it. You wanna get some broccoli going? You know what? I don't even want the phone, mom. Here you go. I like it.
Right. Yeah. They will happily be like, take it.
You know what?
Early.
Never mind. Here, girl, let's take it.
That's awesome. Social media is a beast, especially for parents and you being a content creator. How do you feel about teens on social media?
Well, I really didn't know teens were on social media until I joined TikTok. And there were all these teens who were like, "Aren't you too old to be on TikTok?" And uh and the answer is no. And I went to Meta's teen account launch, and that was really like an eye opener for me because I'm like, wait, they're taking these measures. And I think it was so timely for me because I'm learning all this stuff. And when my kids are finally at age to have social media, I'm equipped with all this knowledge and I'm going to seem much smarter than they are. And they're going to just respect what mommy tells them because right now I'm like telling them no social media, no social media. But now I know all this information. So when they are ready, I'm going to be like, yeah, here's social media with these guidelines. And they're gonna think I'm the coolest mom in the world because they're gonna like, oh, you said no social media. And now I get social media. I'll follow all the guidelines.
Which is so cool. It's great. Like, I think where we're at now is so good as parents because we do have resources. I think a lot of the big bad or the scary has just been trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong. And I agree, for me, it was going to the Screen Smart event too, because I consider myself to be like a mom who knows, but mostly just a nosy mom in general. So my kids know that nothing is sacred in their phone, nothing is secret as long as I pay the bill. I have the will to look. So, but being able to go to that event and see what we could put in place, like you said, proactively. I think a lot of parents are going to be having kids going into those teenage years, and you're going to be more equipped, and you won't have to be like going back and making rules, which that was really difficult because it was like as I learned more, I had to adjust parameters more. You're going into it as your kids age into social media, you're already in the know and you're like, actually, you want your social media? Let me see your phone. We're going to do these rules. We're going to do that. And I think that's going to be so successful, not having to like go back and like kind of retract and say different things. So it's great that you're getting that education and that knowledge like proactive.
Right. And it was so good to also hear from high profile, like celebrities like Jessica Alba, what she does with her teens and what does she think about social media. And I'm like, okay, celebrities also have these struggles and they also have these conversations and hard talk with their teens. And they also have, some back and forth. But I am ready. I am prepared. And it was great that I attended that event. Um, and also, one good thing is that I don't have to fix any mistakes. Like the teenagers who are already on social media, like years before the Screen Smart event, the sexting, the sending the nudes by accident or maybe as a joke, you know, I'm going to be having these conversations before they even have a phone. So there's not going to be any backpedaling, fixing mistakes, and and retracting that image that you sent by accident, like or for fun.
No, I think that's great. And I think there's so much, and like me and Kanika have this conversation all the time, especially around things like self-esteem. I know it sounds like you're a parent that's being like really thoughtful about how you're going to bring social media into your kid's life. Have you thought about like how you will help separate your kids' um, real life from social media, and just for the whole self-esteem purpose, like how you'll convey to them like you're still this person and this is just like you're online. Have you thought through what that would look like for you and your family?
Well, luckily for me right now, my little one is just into gaming, so Roblox and watching YouTube funny videos. My older one is getting a little more creative and wants to start editing videos. And I think that's great because I see this like filmmaker in him and it allows him to be creative, but he's allowing me to help him and to see what he's doing. He's asking for advice, which is like, okay, I'm still cool to him because I know more. I always have to know more than my child um to be relevant in his space. And I'm just hanging on for dear life because he's 11 and it could be tomorrow where he's like, I don't need you anymore. So I still need him to be like, how do you put captions on CapCut? How do you upload a video?
You're still a cool mom. You're still
So,
ahead. I
yeah.
like that. I like it.
So, Alice, one of the best things about your comedy and your sketches is that you act out like your kids and your husband and yourself. You just play all the roles of your family and you do it really well. So, like, I guess, how do you conceptualize all that? Like, I think everything during the day is fodder for you to like turn into a reel.
It is. The more time I spend at home, I feel like there's more content to create. My husband works from home, so there's always content because there's always something like, it's like today, this morning, where's the goldfish? I'm like, it's literally, it was right in front of him. I'm like, it's right there. He's like, oh. And I'm like, you just gave me content. Like, and my kids, it's every day. How is school? It's okay. Bedtime. They want to tell me a whole like 5 chapters of Roblox and what's happening with Roblox or what Kenny did today and what Sheila said to him at lunchtime. There's always content as long as I'm home with them, and when I'm not around them, I'm kind of like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have anything to create. So this whole week I was been really busy, and you'll see like a drop on my Instagram social activity. There has just not been any fodder to create content with.
I feel
Yeah.
like I say this all the time. If you're a mom, the jokes write themselves because if you could just put a camera and that's why I love that we're getting away from the like perfect social media mom because I'm like, I used to think, I don't know how y'all's houses are, but that's definitely not how my house is. And my kids definitely don't act like that. So I feel like as a mom, literally it's almost like being on a comedy show. The things that your kids say, the things that we're presented with every day, it's just like the hits just keep coming,
There's so
you know?
much. There's so much. Even with other parents, when you're on the playground, you hear something funny or someone does something fun. It's just it's all over. It's all around us. When if we allow ourselves to see the funny in everything, it's 24/7. Like even waking up at 3 in the morning, I'm like thinking about something funny.
You're so, so, so right. Let me ask you this, because I know we talked about the funny, and I know we've also like you shared like your parenting style in general is being proactive, which I love that parenting style. I just think it really keeps your family on track and it just prevents a lot of things from happening. What are a few things that you would tell a mom or a dad like especially because you are kinda, like, easing your kids into social media, what's in your digital parenting toolkit? What are just like if you could give us, like, 2 or 3 quick hits that you would give to a parent, to help them navigating this space?
Yeah, I think social media is comparable to like junk food. It's awesome. It's fun. It's engaging, but also it can inspire you and be creative um, with limits. You can have it, but you also have to finish your homework. You also have to play outdoors. I'm not telling you to be an athlete, but engage with your friends outdoors. Go to your friend's house. And I rather have my child watch a YouTube video with his friend instead of by himself in his room. Like it could be something engaging and fun to do with a friend, but I want you to be social still and have limits in terms of solo social media time.
I love that. So just making sure kids still get offline, but then also I love that you acknowledge the positivity in it because there's so much community. Just like we can build community on social media, kids can build community too. I think when we were growing up, we were oftentimes limited by just the people around you. And that can be really isolating if you're a kid who doesn't necessarily identify just like the kids in your class but now with social media, kids can see people look differently, people speak differently, people have different interests, um, and they can identify and create community and find enjoyment and positivity and fun in those social media groups too. So I love that you like express that as well.
And laughter really is the best medicine. And I feel like we always have to find the humor in parenting because it is hard. It's nonstop and it's 24/7 and it's lifelong. So there's just so much to kind of take in there. How have you navigated tough conversations with your kids? And then make sure that there's like a levity and a lightness to it, that it's not awkward for you, not awkward for them. Like, give us some examples of that.
Yeah. Well, I follow Dr. Becky. I think everybody does. And she gives you scripts in terms of like, and she touches on different age ranges too, like, struggles with tantrums or your kid is not talking to you, or um, when we are ready to talk about the birds and the bees. And also, thorn.org is a great website. It's a great resource for parents to find like scripts and how to talk to your kids, like ease them into it, depending on how comfortable you are with the subject. And my 11-year-old is now learning like about the body, about where babies are coming from. And he's getting really curious. And his friends are talking about things. And he asked me a question which threw me off one week. And I was like, I don't know how to answer that question. And my mind was just going just crazy. And it reminded me like, Alice, you're not 5 steps ahead right now. You gotta be on it. You gotta be like reading up on like these kids are learning these things now with their friends, and they also have access to the internet. And you want them to learn from you first at home, and know that whatever they see online, they're prepared for that. So because you can't control what they see online, and you can only educate them at home. So I'm trying to it feels like a race right now. Like I thought I had the whole social media gaming all like done. Like I'm good with that, but now it's about the hard topics about sex, about where babies are coming from, and like what is homosexuality? Why do people do this, and why do people have multiple I don't know yet. So I need help in that area, and thorn.org has helped me. I do Dr. Becky is great to follow as well. Um so yeah, that's that one. I gotta keep on top of that for sure.
But
Yeah.
give yourself grace because you already are doing a lot. And I feel like no matter what we do, you can always stay steps ahead. But I always say this, we're fast, our kids are faster. The internet is faster. So don't feel like if you don't know or you don't get it right, like we are all figuring it out. And our parents did too. Why do you think our parents would always say, because I said so? Because they didn't have Google. They didn't have Google to ask. They didn't have a Google to, like, make a cute little curated answer, like, that's the best they had in their pocket at the time, so and look at us, we're still here alive and thriving, so I think even if your kids catch you off guard with something because, y'all, there's always something new, like, my kids come up with terms, I'm like, "I don't know," and I used to be like that, y'all, I used to be, like, trying to and I realized the first time when I told my kids, "I don't know," they looked at me like, "Excuse me?" I "Ah, come back in a minute. I can look it up with you. We could" and sometimes it's an invitation to invite them in and say, "Let's look it up together.
Hmm.
This is new from mama
Yeah.
too."
Sam,
So
it's so true. It's more of an environment you create for them, that you're safe person, and that they can come up to you if they are curious about something. You allow them to know that, hey, mommy will find out the answer for you, but you just know it's safe and there's no silly question. Come
that's right.
with me with questions. I'm your first, or your dad is your first go-to person.
Because sometimes it's good for our kids to know that we're still just like, I used to stress myself out when they were little because I used to always want to be like, oh, they're not about to, because they need to listen to me. But now, like my oldest is in college. He's 19. My kids still look at me as the authority on a lot of things, and he still, like, will call me and be like, "Mom, what do you think?" And I'm like, I've earned that respect, not just through knowing, but through having created a relationship and an environment for them to know that we don't know everything, but we can figure it out together. So don't beat yourself up. It sounds like your kids already love you, respect you, and love to, like, incorporate you in with what they're doing. So you just keep that up and everything will be great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. I wanted to also just touch on the fact that so many of us in our cohort and community of parents, we are in the sandwich generation. And we are raising our young kids as we're caregiving for, our ailing parents. And this is something that I know so deeply. My mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so it's been like 4 or 5 years that I haven't had like a conversation with my mom. And I wish she had more of an active role in rearing her grandchildren. So that's just one more thing as parents that we are dealing with. And and I know you can relate. So if you can share like what that's like and how you're, kind of plowing ahead.
Yeah, the sandwich generation, I just learned about this a few years ago, and I was taking care of my dad. I luckily I have two sisters who live in Vancouver. That's my hometown. I'm in New York. So I would fly back and forth to see my dad, and I could see him aging, and it's sad that every time I saw him, I wouldn't see him for like 5 months, but I could see the progression of his age. And he had like a lot of chronic illnesses. He lived till 88, so he had a great life doing what he wanted to do, and but it is hard. I remember I was in Vancouver, it was summer, we spent our summers in Vancouver. My dad was at a retirement senior home, and I got a call saying that he fell, and I'm like, "But I have to take my kids to the science center, and they've been looking forward to it all day. I'm like, I can't cancel on my kids. And my mom was like, don't worry about dad. I'll go see him. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take my kids to the science world because I'm mom first to them. And I know my mom can take care of my dad later and my sisters will be there. So I drive by the retirement home because it's on the way. I see an ambulance pull up. I'm like, hey kids, mommy's gonna go in and just check on my dad. And they're like, yeah, yeah, sure. So I pull in, I see my dad on the stretcher. I'm like, hey dad, he's totally conscious. And I'm like, it's Alice. I'm gonna go see you at the hospital. He's like, okay, that's fine. So I'm like, okay, good. He's in the ambulance. Let's go to the science world. So I'm like, okay, mom mode. Let's get to science world. Let's meet your friends, have fun. And then after that, I had to do a comedy show. So I had to perform, be funny, then go see my dad at the hospital. So it was like, what? It's the hardest thing. Like
What?
parenting and also caring about your parents who are not healthy. That is the hardest thing, but wow, it tells you how much capacity we can grow. You think that you've grown a lot already becoming a parent, and then when you have this extra challenge, you're like, I can grow more beyond the capacity that I thought ever. And my dad passed in 2023. It's propelled me to to this new person. I feel very different. And I also feel like I can relate to people who have lost or who are grieving even their living parent. I could relate much more. I could connect with them in a different level that I couldn't before. And to me, I'm like, bad things happen, unpredictable things happen, and it propels you to be a better person, to be stronger, to be resilient, and to really take advantage of the time you have with the people that you love. Yeah.
Mm, wow. Yeah, that's so important. And I'm glad we're having these, open conversations here because this is what community is about. We got to talk about how we're raising the kids, the postpartum, the caregiving. Like this is our everyday. And if we don't have a sounding board, we feel really alone.
And you know what's so funny? I'm very private. I do share sketches and my comedy. But when my dad was passing, I actually told the story on my Instagram story. So many people reached out, people who have lost their parents or people who haven't yet. And there was such a flood of love. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they carried me through and people just giving me such warmth and love on social media. I'm like,
Yes.
wow.
Mhm.
And people care. I think the misconception sometimes is with social media, it's all big and bad and people don't care. Actually, people do care. And actually, there are people that are just regular, normal people behind screens. And I think that's what the common thread is as women, as moms. Like, we all can identify, even in different backgrounds. We can relate to grief. We can relate to motherhood. We can relate to marriage. It's not always the good things that really can help bring us together. It's the difficult ones too, and just realizing like we're all human, we're all going through it. Um, and we want to be there. I think inherently we want to be there for people. We want to support people. I think, that's one of the things that I'm grateful for. I think I've met a broader community, a deeper community through being vulnerable and sharing online. I used to be, like you said, like really private, and I can still be when I need to, but I think it's in those moments when you open up, that's when you get an opportunity to really connect with people in a real way. Alice, thank you so much. I love learning about you, your comedy, especially your story with the comedy club and the kids in the comedy club. Like, that one is gonna go double platinum in my house. I can't wait to tell my kids about that. It's so cool. Tell everyone where they can find you when they're ready to get their laugh on. Where are you at?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Kanika and Sam. This was such a wonderful conversation, and people can find me on Instagram. I'm always there, MomCom NYC, and I post my live date shows there. So if you want to see me live, it's a totally different animal than my content online. So come see me.
Oh, we love you, Alice. Thank you so much for being an inspiration to all of us and making us smile.
Make sure to subscribe to the podcast series wherever you listen for insightful tips on parenting and online safety.
And you can find me, Samantha Danielle, at samanthadanielle.com or on Instagram at Hey Samantha Danielle.
And you can find me, Kanika Chadda Gupta, on my website, that's totalmomsense.com, and on Insta at Kanika Chadda Gupta. See you soon.
See you soon.